Hi everybody, this is Eric Stonikas with newhomenotebook.com and YoChicago.com. Continuing my talk with Mike Glasser. We talked about his blog rogerspark.com, or rather the website rogerspark.com, on which he blogs and several other people blogs, and you can find information about events and other things relating to Rogers Park. Now, Mike, I wanted to start talking to you about the Rogers Park Building Group.
Builders Group.
Builders Group. Rogers Park Builders Group, rpbg.org.
Correct.
Well, tell me, how did it get started?
Back in 1992, Rogers Park was a dirty word. It was very tough as a landlord to attract quality tenants to the neighborhood. The development was non-existent, both residential development as well as commercial or retail. And there were some crime problems. There were also crime perception, as well as the actual problems. And it was just tough to get people up here. A group of us that are in the development or investment community, and those of others who are real estate professionals, brokers, architects, bankers, decided to form, really going, I thought was a support group, a place to go talk about our problems and know other people were suffering. But more than that, we decided to embark on a public relations campaign. I'm talking in the early to mid-90s, hired a PR firm and actually put out some good press about Rogers Park. The organization was led by a man named Paul Gauguin, who was one of the pioneers for condominium development along the East Lake Terrace area. He was a little ahead of his time, and then he was succeeded by a gentleman named Michael Walk, who's a landlord and developer. And then around the year 2000 or so, I took over as president and served for 6 years as president. And that was an exciting time, because as the economy built, this neighborhood started receiving great attention, and the organization did very well. We were involved in helping promote developments, but the organization itself gave developers and investors a chance to understand the community where they were developing. Mm-hmm. So issues of affordable housing were things that a lot of these people needed, including myself, needed to be educated about, mm-hmm. to be sensitive to the community where we were developing. And so a lot of good things happened. There was some great networking. Some landlords who had troubled buildings were able to find others who would buy the buildings from them. It wasn't so much an organization where we beat people up, although it did happen from time to time, but more of a support group where information could be exchanged. And I think it was really a helpful tool as the community started developing. The organization itself always contributed anywhere from 10 to 20% of our earnings back to the community, and we'd support non-for-profits that way. And we'd also give some non-for-profits a chance to speak and introduce themselves. And there were other non-for-profits that had a real estate component who would serve as advisors, and in some instances actually members. What's now known as the Rogers Park Business Alliance, formerly DevCorp, has been on the board for years. Loyola University has been on the board for years. Rogers Park Community Council and its CDC, Community Development Corporation, have been advisors. And so we've always had, I think, cordial and mutually respectful relationships with the non-for-profits. Now that there's a lot less development, if any development, Loyola University's developing, but there's not much private development mm-hmm. Any longer. Our organization has taken a great interest in the rental markets. Mm-hmm. And there are certain issues and problems that landlords have trying to keep a good product out there. We're challenged by our relationship with the city. The porch issue has been a big issue for us over time.
Is that the back porch issue?
Yes, the back porch issue. That issue, now it's not, in the past few years has been a tremendously important issue. Mm-hmm. For many landlords, because our buildings for the most part are older. But we also meet with the city. Our current president, Marty Max, has done a great job developing relationship with the building commissioner, Department of Buildings, and we've helped have him understand the issues that we as landlords, because as our job gets more burdensome and difficult as city requirements and as we're written up from and go through tremendous efforts to stay clean, as that happens, we have a disincentive to staying in the neighborhood. And so there is a whole side of the story that has to be understood by people within the city, because the need for affordable and quality housing is so important that the small private landlord, our needs have to be considered along with the needs of others. It seems that there's it seems like the last bastion for taxing our property tax, our owners of multifamily properties, and that burden is one that can only lead in the diminished value of our properties. If we can't raise the rents to pay for increased property taxes, we have less cash available to put into our buildings.